who shows up. So this is not going to be a real long live feed. Let me get this set up for live chat. I had someone ask me about tools while I was editing a video. So there's a video that is going up right now, and I just thought, because I am going to shoot another video today, but while that one was editing, I decided I'd do this quick live feed because somebody asked me a question and I figured here's the easiest way to answer it. So maybe some of you guys have questions about stuff like this. So it was about tools because the guy's like, hey, I'm a tinkerer. I told him I was going to do it as a live feed. Hopefully he logs in. He said he didn't know, he might not be. What's up, Jeremy? So asking about tools, and I'm not talking about just your everyday. I'm talking about the tools that I use for Jack. Not the tools that I use for Jack. The tools that I use for the stuff I do on knives. And so I told him, I was explaining, and I was like, you know, it'd probably be easier. Let me just do a live feed because I imagine there's a couple people that have the same question. And so they asked, I built a toolkit because I've got stuff, it just got too big to have all this stuff in here. And I keep my, stuff I keep in here. I keep my drivers, I keep my bits. All of my bits are in here. I keep a thing of knife pivot lube. Sometimes the nano oil will be in there, but usually a knife pivot lube. I don't use the nano oil as much. And every once in a while, a small bottle of rem oil if I know I'm gonna be working on autos. The only thing I use this on is out the front autos. So let me just take a look real quick. Let's break down this stuff. I'll get this camera turned around. Well, that's gonna be hard to do. So you guys can ask questions. What we'll go through is, so this is just basically a thigh pouch that I had laying around. It used to be a first aid kit that I was issued. It still has some gauze and stuff in it because I do work on knives. Good idea to have some of that in there. But as far as the tools, this is a pretty expensive driver. I bought this is a Greg Berger custom driver. I bought this to support when he was first starting out. I got it on, I believe I got this on Knife Center. But this is a handmade brass, is it brass or copper? I think it's brass. Bit driver with a zirconium end and a bearing. Now, do you need something that fancy? No, I don't need something that fancy, to tell you the truth. There's a lot of other nice drivers out there, but I got this because two things. I needed to get some good small tools, some small drivers for working on knives. Also wanted to support Greg, and I had the money at the time. It was before I started the business. So I got that. I've been using that for 2, going on 3 years, I think. But do you have to have something like that? No. If you get one of these, this is a Craftsman, just a Craftsman handle with a magnet in it. Put a Phillips head bit in it. You can all the same bits in this that you can put in this. And sometimes a larger driver is nice. When you need a little bit of torque, you gotta break some Loctite loose. So that is, this gives you a lot more versatility. Doesn't fit in my tool bag too much, so only use this when we need it. So the thing is, you can get away with not having that. This does the exact same thing. This is a little Husky bit driver, and it comes with these little itty bitty bits, and they're in the handle. All your bits in your handle, most of the sizes you need are in this. And Husky has these, I'll put in the bottom. I don't have an affiliate link. I'm not trying to sell you anything. In the bottom, in the notes description below, I'll put the part number, if I can find it. I've pretty much worn it off. But it looks like HD Tech 74502AB. And it's a Husky bit driver. It's got your bits in it. It's nice to have 2 bit drivers. Because 2 reasons. One, you have a knife that has multiple size screws in it. Well, you can have 2 bit drivers. You got, say your pivot is a T8 and all of your hardware for everything else is T6. Set one as a T6 and have the other one as a T8. And you can use it. What was that? Somebody, oh, I missed some comments. I got a cheapo one from Home Depot. Yeah. So the cheapo one, and this works fine. I've used it for a long time. I do need to order a new one because my T6 is rounded over. But I could also just take it up and I could run it on a grinder flat. So there's this, and like I said, your spare bits go right down in the handle. They got little slots for them. And then you put this when you put back together this little end cap, it spins. It is every bit as functional as this. This uses the bigger bits. So that's the other thing. People are like, well, what bits? I mean, depending on how much you're doing, how much work you're actually doing with it, guys, you can get away with some pretty cheap bits. These actually, I couldn't ever find the bits I wanted, the Torx bits I wanted. So if you guys look in here, it's a mess of things. There's a couple flathead pieces. There's knives that require a 3/8 inch socket. I have some bits for that's actually what this is for a Microtech. And so I basically put that in there, and then this goes in this. And now I have the pivot tool for a lot of the Microtechs. I have a couple other Microtech bits over here that are just laying around. I have that, and I have a tri-wing bit and some other stuff. Not even gonna, that's not what we're talking about. Random comments. So, at any rate, all these tools, all these bits, I've got a bunch of different ones. I have some hex bits, and it's just all stuff that I've just picked up. Cheapo stuff. Made a spanner out of a pocket clip that stays in here. Here's another bit for a Microtech. So there's different spanners in here for different things that I've made, but at any rate, the Torx bits are what most of your knives are gonna have. Like I said, this is a Torx driver. These are the security Torx, and it's the only set that I could find that went all the way from T4 up to what is this, I've never even used this one. This is a T40. So most of the ones you're gonna use are in this range here. T6, 7, 8, 9, up to like 15. Those are the ones you're gonna need the most. But sometimes it's really hard to find the individual sizes you need. So I found these on Amazon. These are the security bits. But you'll notice that I've got 2 of them in here where the security bit broke off and I had to grind it. You can't see it. I just ground it off. Just ground it off so that, you know, you didn't have that problem. So the security ones have got a hole in them. On the smaller ones, it can pose a problem because it's thin. You can break it right off. But the thicker ones, no problem. So I got these on Amazon. If I can find the ones that I bought, I'll put a link to it down there as well. Like I said, no affiliate link. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just trying to give you guys the information about these. So I bought these. But if you want really good ones that seem to last a long time, I have a Fellows T6 in here that, what's up, Cody? I have a Fellows T6 right here that lasts forever. The Fellows bits seem to be the best. They just seem to last the longest, last the best. I don't know what the difference is. They don't seem to strip out or strip off their points as badly. So it's just a matter of, do you need the expensive stuff? No, you can get by it. This is the tools that I make a living with. And most of this stuff is just cheap stuff. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, some of the specialty tools, if you get into tinkering and doing stuff, some of these specialty tools are pricey, especially when you start looking at these Microtech tools. I've probably got, in just these bits right here, these bits right here, and the one that I just dropped on the tile floor, I've probably got, this one I think was a $40 bit. I think this set together was $45. This bit, they're between 20 and 40 bucks a piece because they're proprietary screws. And you gotta find a place that's got them. So I've said it a few times, I don't think I'm gonna do too much more on Microtechs because it's getting so hard to give them apart. I had one come in that I just couldn't get apart, neither me or Elliot. Let me see, am I missing any comments? So, but no, that's just the tools. And I mean, you don't have to have anything special. Just make sure you got the right set of Torx. So I'd say like I said, between T6 and T20. You don't need anything outside of that. I don't think I've used anything bigger than a T15 or T20 very often. Every once in a while I get something. Every once in a while I get something you need a big one for, but I mean, until you need it, you probably don't need to buy it. Does that make sense? So So, but no, like I said, I told the guy I was gonna do it. I don't know if you showed up. Will, are you here? If you're here, you can Roger up and say, hey, yeah, thanks for the video. If not, you know, it'll be up when he gets ready to see it. So, I did shoot a video this morning, and it's currently uploading, like I said. So if you guys are like, Mike hasn't put up a video in forever, I'm doing 2 today. I'm gonna get that one up, and I'm gonna start shooting the other one. I just gotta get my head together. For anybody that's curious as to why, it's just been hectic. I explained it in the beginning of the first video why there hasn't been videos going up, but it's just been a little hectic. That's all. Oh, another thing that I recommend for in your toolkit, and I don't have any in here because I took them out because I was making room for some other stuff. Some Ziploc baggies, because sometimes what will happen is you might get a knife apart and you're trying to set everything aside and you might be cleaning it up or doing something, and the next thing you know, you've knocked a screw on the floor or something like that. So if you're gonna be doing stuff like in an area where you're not 100% sure, just as you take the screws out, put them in a little Ziploc baggie, or these work great too. These work great too if you can get them set off somewhere. If I'm working in here in the house on taking a knife apart, a lot of times I'll use some of these little cups and I'll put the hardware in it. If you're not 100% sure that you're gonna remember where all the screws went, body screws, pivot screws, pocket clip screw. That way, because you know, some knives you take that pocket clip off and the screws are a different length than the body screws. So, does that make sense to everybody? But a Ziploc baggie is great. A couple Ziploc baggies in your tool bag, and then if you decide you're gonna take something apart and your screws are laying out, you're not gonna knock them on the floor. If you're like my house, there's a gap between the tile and the counter, and if you drop a screw in there, you're gonna have to order a screw. That's just all there is to it. It's not, you're not getting it out of there without tearing the counters out. And I'm not tearing this counter and cupboard out. So, all right, guys, what's everybody doing besides work? Because I know that it's work time for most people. I'm not doing much in the way of work today. I did a bunch of stuff earlier this week. I made a couple knives this week. I made a knife for a charity auction for Adam Chavez. If you watch YouTube, follow him on YouTube. It's Flippin' Bean. I made a necker for him, and for those of you guys that don't know him, Matt Braley is the guy that owns Armitage Carry. He makes all of my sheaths. Reached out to him. I told him I want to do something special. Told him I want to do something special for it, so we are going to laser engrave the Marine Corps logo on a red Kydex sheath. He says it comes out great. The way it burns, it comes out gold. So the Marine Corps logo will be on the sheath in red and gold. You just can't go wrong with that. So that I'm doing that because Adam sets up this thing he does every year at the Marine Corps birthday. They do it at Pat Tillman's bar in Arizona. And if you guys don't know, Pat Tillman was a NFL football player that had a contract at the NFL, gave up his contract and joined the Army, and then subsequently was killed in action. And so there's some stuff with that is pretty cool that he does this every year. So he gets people together. It's not just him, but I mean, he's the person I know that really is into it. So Cody, how is England? How hard is it to carry a knife in England? See how this pans out. Is anyone here? Anyone? Bueller? So, yeah, it just didn't bring any. Oh no, man. Fuck. Find me on Instagram. I'll just send you pictures of knives every once in a while. You just lick the screen or something. It's getting warm in my kitchen. So I don't know where everybody is, but it's just a little after 11 in the morning here. We've had some fairly cool nights, but today it's warming up quick. So, I've been to England a couple times. I didn't dislike it. It's just not someplace I would want to live. it's definitely a different kind of place. It's not someplace I could, like, I see stuff that goes on. England came up with the first stab-proof kitchen knife. It's round on the end, and I'm like, still sharp, still sharp. The next thing you know, you guys are gonna be using plastic kitchen knives in England. So I don't want to get on a tirade about that. It's just something silly. It's like, oh, outlaw guns so nobody gets killed, and then now people are killing each other with rolling pins and screwdrivers and fucking pliers and shit like that. Now they're gonna outlaw. They were talking about cutting the tips off everybody's knives. Okay, let me stop you right there, Air Force, because if you had been in the Navy, you'd know that beer has food value, but food has absolutely zero beer value, my friend. Fuck the food, drink the beer. Give me a second, guys, I'll be right back. So, these are still out in the world. I just sharpened it, that's why it's over here. Fuck, they get sharp. They get so sharp. Let's see, is there anything else going on? No, I got a couple videos. That I'm planning on shooting. There's going to be some improvement in the videos. The videos are going to be better, not the live feeds. Live feeds are still done on my phone. My mother bought me a gift. I now have a MacBook, a refurbished MacBook, that I think is going to make it easier and better for me to edit. I just was editing that video. There's so many different like transitions and things you can do on the actual iMovie in on a computer than you can say on the phone itself. And the nice thing is I can take it with me. So I'll be taking it with me to Portland so that hopefully, you know, I don't have to cut down the videos as much. I'll just make more videos. I'll just keep all the raw footage. I'll just airdrop everything I film to the Mac. And then when I get, you know, when I get done that day, I'll try to edit. But there's a lot of stuff that I dropped out of the videos from USN because I just ran out of room on my phone. And so, you know, I'm like, oh, I gotta get rid of this, I gotta get rid of that. And so having the computer that I can just drop the videos to, I think is going to make my life a lot easier. And then the editing took longer because I'm still learning. Like I've never used iMovie on a Mac. My wife has it on her computer, but that's her computer. And there's a lot of times that I don't want to fuck around with my wife's computer. It's her computer, it's not mine. So, and then doing it from a PC it's just a pain. So I think that's gonna add to it. There's a lot of cool transitions you can do in actual iMovie on a computer that you can't do on a phone. So what I was thinking about doing is I will piece the video together as I'm going, and then as soon as I'm done, I just airdrop it right to the computer. And then I can clear out all that space on my phone and then start shooting video again the next day. And then I'll just, you know, I can piece it together and then I can change transitions and edit things like that once I get it on my actual Mac. So we'll see how that works out. Anybody got any questions about like the tools and stuff? Like I said, I'm gonna try and put a link. It might take me a little bit to get it, or I'll put not necessarily a link, but maybe, what was I getting ready to say? Like I'll put the part number for that Husky bit driver and for the Craftsman bit driver. They're pretty simple, easy to find. It's just something that it does come in handy to have all your tools and to have them in one place and have all the stuff you need to do whatever you're gonna do. I went up to Elliot's shop yesterday to work on a couple things. I was working on a knife that I'm shipping out to get a sheath today, and I had to take the handles off, and I realized I'd left this sit on the counter. And so, hang on a sec. I gotta let the cat in. Where are you? I hear you. So, let's see. Am I missing any? Well, it just seems like I'm not. I'm not gonna keep here just talking. So if you guys don't have any questions or anything, I'm just gonna say 11 people, 5 likes. That's all I'm gonna say. So yeah, if nobody has any questions or anything, if I don't get any comments here quick, will end this because I've got another video I'm gonna shoot. It's in this tube. It's this tube. I think you guys will like this. This is something that's gonna be. There's not gonna be a lot of content about these. I don't think there's not a lot of them. So you'll get to see it. It's a Ferrum Forge. You guys know it's a Ferrum Forge. Where else am I gonna get new stuff that most people haven't seen yet? But yeah. But like I said, I'm premiering the video that I just filmed, and it's going up. It's loading to YouTube. I'm putting it up as a premiere at 1 p.m. my time. So if you guys want to get in on that, it's 1 p.m. Pacific. That video is going to premiere, and I'll be in the live chat. And so you guys know, some people are always curious how that works. They're like, oh, did I miss the live? A premiere is different. A premiere I filmed and I put it up, and then you guys can comment, and I'm in the comments, which actually I find easier than the live feeds, because then I'm talking to you guys while we're watching a video. So if you guys like the premieres, let me know. I'll try and do more of them. It's just I'm getting a ton of texts. So there's a lot going on. And then, like I said, right now, I am still open for taking knives in. If you guys need knives sharpened, I am always available, but there may be some delays because today is the 11th. My daughter's birthday is on the 16th. That weekend, I believe we're gonna try and do some stuff with my mother. The following weekend, I'm gonna be in Garden Grove at the Cali Custom Show in Garden Grove, and then get back from that probably the 27th, 28th, 29th, I'll be here. 30th, I'll be here. Thursday, the 31st, I leave for Portland for Blade Show West. So I will be at Blade Show West if any of you guys are going. And so I leave Halloween and then come back that Sunday, which I think is the 3rd. Yeah, the 3rd, come back the 3rd. And then on the 11th, that following Monday, 8 days later, I'm sorry, we have to be on an airplane to Wenatchee, Washington, for my daughter to skate in the national finals. Well, what is the national finals for that? So, but what's up, Bradley? Did you get your knives, Bradley? By the way, I just want to make sure that they got there. I shipped them out. If you haven't gotten them, let me know. I will try and find that. I'll try and find the receipt and figure out Nixa, Missouri, I believe, is where it had to go. I don't think it's in here. This is all old stuff. This is still Las Vegas receipts that need to go in the business box. Well, thank you, sir. I'm not gonna lie. What is this? Oh, I know what that is. Sorry, I got distracted. The buck still had a low spot. And so if you look at that, you'll see where there's some of those scratches that came back through. God, I'd like to get $55 an hour to make them. That'd be great, wouldn't it, if I got $55 an hour to make videos? I would do nothing but YouTube videos all day, every day. And I mean, I know that there's people that do it. I know there's people that get more money than that. So, but like I said, it's been difficult to do videos. I say it I talk about it in the video, the premiere that's coming up, but it hasn't been that I got discouraged or anything, because I know some of you guys probably saw some of the comments. The fucking people are like, you're such a beggar, about the Patreon and the GoFundMe and stuff. But it hasn't been that. It wasn't that. It's not like somebody finally got under my skin and I'm like, I'm done with YouTube. There's been a couple things. I've been having problems with the Wi-Fi. You guys know I've been having problems with Wi-Fi. I think we've got it figured out that it is a device that is on the outside of my house. I believe it's my smart meter for my electricity, and I'm going to contact SDG&E because I'm gonna let them know, like, hey, you're screwing with my stuff. Because this whole area of the kitchen, it's really hard to, okay, it's really hard to do videos, live feeds, because this is where I do it from. There's not too many other places in the house where I get good light. This is about the best place for me to shoot a video. I had been doing them at the workbench, I still will, but this is about the best light in the house. You get some diffused lighting because of the windows and the way the light hits. But I can't get signal. That thing interferes with my Wi-Fi signal, and I'm like 99% sure that's what it is. So, you know, it makes it difficult to do stuff because I do like doing the live feeds, but there's that. And like I said, my mother's here. There's things that I want to do, and I can't just tell her, like, you got to go stand, you got to go sit, you got to go upstairs, you got to be quiet. I can't, you know, I can't tell her that. It's not fair, and I don't want to. And then there's just been part of the lack of content is there's nothing here. I haven't had anything cool come in for a while. I've had stuff come in, but it hasn't been anything cool. So, you know, I have a couple things now, but, and then there's just, I just didn't feel like doing videos. There's so many other things I wanted to do lately, this last little bit, that did not involve doing YouTube videos. So, you know, there's that. Give me a second, guys. I'm gonna prepare for my afternoon. It's like I said, I'm done working for today. I was gonna go to the shop and do some stuff. I had to order some stuff. There's stuff I had to order before I can start. I can't just go up and use up, at this point, running a business. When I was doing this as a hobby, I could go up and use Elliot's stuff and just say, hey, can I, you know, use one of these, two of these? I can't do that anymore. This is a business and I have to have my own stuff. And so there's a couple things that they don't need, so they haven't bought, that I need, like cutoff wheels and stuff like that. So I ordered some because I couldn't find the ones I wanted at Home Depot. So I had intended on cutting out a couple knife blanks this week, but there's no cutoff wheels and I didn't want to run all over the place to try and find them. So knowing that I've only got a couple weekends left with my mother, I just said, screw it, I'm not working this weekend. That knife blank will get cut out when it gets cut out. And so the knife blank will get cut out probably next week. I ordered some cutoff wheels, I ordered some other stuff. I've just got a few things that I had to get that preclude me going up and working. So it's been slack. But I will tell you, We Knife Company, man, I talked to them about the fact, I was like, I have to make this trip, and we were talking about expenses, and they paid me my royalties for the entire run of knives, all up front. You're not gonna find a better company. You're not gonna find a better group of people anywhere. I'm not gonna say you're not gonna find a better group of people in China. I'm not gonna say you're not gonna find a better group of people in the States. I'm gonna say you're probably not gonna find a better group of people, period. That they actually give a crap about the people that are working with them, their designers. They treat their designers really well. They really do. And so, big thank you to them, because that made it so much less stressful about planning this trip. So I did start a new GoFundMe. Like I say, to the chagrin of my haters, I started a whole new GoFundMe just for this trip. Fox 5 News in San Diego, it looks like they're going to be doing a story about my daughter, with her going to finals and everything like that, the national finals for the girls juvenile division. And so I started, because the fact is, what people don't see is, like, they're like, oh, you're just begging, why don't you get a real job? There's people that make a lot of money that still are having a hard time and do GoFundMes for these competitions, because all three of us have to fly up. We have to stay at a hotel. And we have to pay the fees to go on the ice and eat and all that stuff. But the unseen cost that people don't realize when you have a kid that's a skater like this that has a coach, I have to pay those same things for her coach. So that means that I have to not only pay for 3 tickets, I gotta pay for 4. And I don't have to pay lodging for 3 people, I gotta pay lodging for 4, which means that we have to have another room. So safe athlete rules, she can't stay in a hotel room with us. And I can 100% understand that after all the stuff that happened with the Olympic athletes and stuff like that. It's all best just to take any questions out for both the coach and the athlete. So, but yeah, I started a new GoFundMe for that. So if you guys are interested in that, I'm going to put a link to the new GoFundMe in the video that's going up a little bit later. So, but I have to do a couple things. I'm gonna get off of here shortly. You guys got any questions? I'll answer some questions. I'll give you guys another 15 minutes. We'll make this a 45-minute long live feed. So anything you guys want to talk about, let's go into the comments and start doing that, because right now all I've been doing is just talking and letting you guys know what's been going on. So talk amongst yourselves for a second. I'll be back and we'll talk about whatever it is you guys want to talk about for the next 15 minutes. Yeah, I'm drinking a beer. And waiting, and waiting, and waiting. Yeah, I'm concerned about this though, because anything that changes in her equipment and gear, Marco Polo, anything that changes, it throws her off for a while. And so in a month, we have to go to finals. She outgrew her skate boots. She did. She outgrew her skate boots. And so we had to buy new boots. And so she has to break those in before we get to Washington. And I'm concerned. I am concerned. I mean, she still will skate well. That last competition, she was losing her mind right before. She usually will be really nervous and then pull it out at the end. You guys want a sneak peek as to what this afternoon's second video is going to be? Do you? Sneak peek, little cheater look. Some of you guys are gonna know what that is just by knowing what's going on with the boys at Fair and Forge. Ooh. Skates, and that's why we're doing the GoFundMe. I did a GoFundMe for her whole season, and so it didn't get the traction I was hoping. And I mean, I can't get upset because it's all based on the community at large. If people want to pay, they pay. If they don't, they don't. But you know, yes, it's the tie. Don't go spoiling it. Don't say what it is. Don't spoil it anybody. But it is tie. So the fact is that like right now, give me a second. I'll answer that, Mark. Right now, she's not eligible for a sponsorship. She has to either be 13 or be in girls intermediate. So that's either one level up or basically a year from this month. So a sponsorship is the goal. She's good enough that we're going to have a sponsor. It's not going to be difficult to get a sponsor. The problem is right now, we've got to either wait a year. No, you don't become a millionaire when you design a knife. I will tell you I made less than $7 grand on the total run of these knives. But the fact is, that's the first run. And I have 2 more knives come out. And basically that's what I call passive income. So, but yeah, a sponsorship is out of the question right now. She's not old enough. So Mark, you were talking about the best advice I give somebody that's learning to freehand sharpen is sharpen a lot. Lots and lots and lots. Because what happens is a lot of people, they'll start to sharpen freehand and they get discouraged. I did. The first couple knives I ever sharpened were horrible. They really were. And I'm just, you know, at this point, I've sharpened so many knives, but it's just, don't freehand sharpen on an expensive knife. Don't use an Edge Pro or a Wicked Edge on an expensive knife until you're sure you know how to use it and can use it properly. You guys saw the last two Norsemen that came in. I had another guy I did a Norseman for. You weren't supposed to tell anybody, Mark. I said, don't say it. Don't spoil it for anyone. The video is going to be a surprise later. Damn it, Mark. Yes, that is the Ty Mordax button lock ProTech collab. Y'all can thank Mark for ruining the surprise. It happens. Yeah, I'm going to film that video later today. So the best advice I can get anybody for freehand sharpening is get some knives that you don't mind sacrificing. Get some knives that are not super, super cheap, because what happens is if you get a super cheap knife, I don't own any super cheap knives. I don't even think I have one as an example here, but okay, say you buy a really cheap, crappy knife that is in an unknown steel, and it's a swap meat knife, and it's like $8, and you don't know the temper or hardness and things. What happens is that material moves so much that you're not going to get a good idea of how well you're doing. You're just always going to have a burr, period. You're not going to see, did I clean up that burr? Is it sharp? It's annealed. It probably was never hardened. And the other thing too is there's little things that you'll catch yourself doing. If you've got the stone and you're coming down stone, you feel you lift your elbow. Well, what you do it is you're unintentionally trying to see. Yes, I will give you a recommendation in a minute. So a lot of times what happens is people will try to follow that curve, and then you lift, and what you're doing is you're trying to follow that curve, but now you're changing your angle. And so you're blunting the tip, you're making it too steep, you're lifting that up, so it's really not the same angle the entire length. It happens on grinders and stuff like that. You can see a knife that has a good, consistent, even edge, it follows up and it doesn't thicken. It's the same thickness all the way up. If you lift that elbow, you can see, watch the blade. If I'm holding it like this, I'm not following the curve, I'm lifting the handle. And I'm fucking up my angle. Those are the two pieces of it. And then get good stones. I'm not saying get expensive stones like me, I'm just saying get decent stones. You can get by with, King and Norton make some very affordable good stones. Matter of fact, my 1000 grit stone that I use for straight razors is a King home stone, and I paid $11 for it. How much would it be to recreate it'd be, depending on the knife, if it was one of these, it'd be over 100, because there's a lot of polishing. A lot of polishing, a lot of time spent to do it, to get that bright, robust, it's got fingerprints and stuff all over, but to get those bright, robust colors, there's a lot of prep. I watched a video about, I watched a video about anodizing. He's like, it seems pretty straightforward. And I was like, yeah, pretty straightforward if you've done it a few times, but you could say it's pretty straightforward and then go through and do it and then screw it completely up. And then they're like, oh, well, I should just be able to go back and start over. No, you got to start that whole, you miss a color by 1 volt and you got to go all the way back to the beginning. No, do not sharpen S30V. You will be upset with yourself. It's hard to sharpen. It doesn't hold an edge. It's going to chip and you're going to think you did something wrong. In my opinion, they should stop making knives in S30V. I fucking hate it. So S30V would not be a good start. S35VN is a very good steel for you to sharpen and practice on. And it's not, I mean, a lot of knives have got it now and they're not that expensive. Another one that is a good knife to sharpen, get some cold steels. Get some cold steels. They're not that expensive. They take an edge well. Their heat treat's always good. It's going to give you a good indication of whether you're doing what you're doing right. And some of the steels are fairly easy to sharpen. Like this is AUS 8. So this is AUS 8. Their AUS 8 was really good. It is easy to sharpen. It's not going to move too much. So you're like always wondering about whether you set your whether you set your bevel properly. VG10 is a good steel. Way to go, Bradley. VG10 is a very good steel to sharpen as practice because it is pretty forgiving. It takes a really good edge, and so VG10. Don't start getting into some of those super steels. Like LMAX is another good one. LMAX is a fairly sharpener-friendly knife, but once you start getting up into those, you're looking at more expensive knives. And so when I say stay away from some of the super steels, there's a reason. You're gonna get frustrated because you're gonna be used to doing these cheaper knives that are softer and easier to sharpen. And then you're gonna wind up going to that super steel and you're gonna try and do it exactly the same way you did on that softer steel, and you're gonna get frustrated. And so that's one of those things that just is that is gonna frustrate you. Okay, now back to the Scotch question. There is a brand of Scotch called Tom & Towel. I could not tell you how to spell it. And they make several different versions. It's above like your average like $80. It's anywhere between $100 and $112 a bottle for some of their good ones. But you can get one that's cheaper, one that's more expensive. They have some extremely expensive types of Scotch, same brand. But it's a Space 8 Glenlivet. So it's a type of Glenlivet Scotch. You can buy the Glenlivet. That's a very good Scotch to go to. Single malt, the Glenlivet single malt Ancient Age is one I like a lot. I think that's in the $80 to $100 range. But I don't have money for that anymore, so I drink things like $20 bottle of Bullet Rye, things like that. But you can get some really good, decent. I always like Cutty Sark. Cutty Sark's a cheap. You're like, oh, that's rat gut whiskey. No, it's pretty good. I like Cutty Sark. I like Black Label, Johnny Walker Black Label. If I'm drinking a blended, a single malt Scotch, yeah. Belvini. Belvini makes a really good, affordable Scotch. Chivas, I'm not a big fan of Chivas Regal, but I tell you what, I am a good big fan of. If you just like whiskey in general, I like Jameson's. Jameson's is good. That's a good whiskey. And this is another thing I found. This is those Corona. I'm not a big Corona fan. This is a Corona Familiar. I like this. So 2 minutes left. Time for like maybe one more question. Sorry guys, I've got other stuff I've got to try and get done today. I've got so many videos that have been bouncing around in my head, but like I said, I just didn't have a want to do it. And it's not fair to my mom for me to be out here talking to my phone while she's in the living room just messing around. I will say that there's 13 of us and only 8 likes. I am gonna keep doing that. Like, I know people are like, oh, geez, fuck that guy, he's always just begging for likes. Well, if we want to expand the channel, that's what we gotta do. Like I said about the Patreon, people are like, oh, you're begging. Patreon is how we're gonna get new content. That's how I'm gonna make it to go up to Idaho and hang out and watch them make sabenzas at Chris Reeve Knives. Yes, so the first time I ever had a Corona, I was out here in San Diego. I was like 18 years old. I was going to a school out here. I'd never had a Corona. It didn't seem like I didn't like a pale ale. I was a hillbilly. I drank Budweiser and stuff like that because I was 18. You can drink overseas. So I go to Tijuana, and I had a Corona, and this is what it tasted like. It wasn't even a Corona, I don't think. I had a Mexican beer in Mexico, and this is what it tasted like. This is so much better than a regular Corona. I don't like regular Corona. They're not that great. Got an Aus 8 Rat 1. Yeah, Rat 1 is good. If you want something that will give you a very good... Mark, this goes back to your knife. Somebody just said Rat 1. They have the Rat 1 and Aus 8, but if you want to have one that's a little bit harder, get the Rat 1 in D2. And that will give you 2 knives, 2 different, like basically the same, I mean, they're the exact same knife. They're not that expensive. And you can practice between a softer steel and a harder steel. D22 steel is a very good steel. It does stain. I will tell you, it stains and it will rust up. So last piece of advice for sharpening, we're 14 seconds past where I was. If you're doing steels that do rust and will turn orange and patina, if you're using water stones, the water that you're soaking your stones in, put some baking soda in it, just a little bit. I will tell you, it makes things slick, and if you do the stone thing like I do, it makes the stones want to slide around. But you know, you can easily just wipe your hands good and dry and then just put a drop of fresh water on it, but it changes the pH of the water and it doesn't let it oxidize as readily. Which Warney? This one? I put dish soap in the water all the time, but if I'm doing a higher carbon steel that's gonna patina or turn orange, S125V, case in point, it's not as stain resistant as some of the other stainless steels. Baking soda in the water changes the pH. The soap in the water is strict. It doesn't do anything for that. All it does is it changes the surface tension and it helps keep the debris, the metal from loading your stones. It lifts it out a little bit. It just changes the surface tension of water and it keeps it from sticking as easily, and it lifts that. It keeps the stones from getting as clogged as quickly. So, all right, guys. People are starting to leave already. I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna go make sure this video is going up and is in properly. I'll get links to some of these tools in this later. So check back on this live feed later so that you can see if I've put the links or the tool numbers, the part numbers and stuff in. But I have to wait for this video to process. So guys, I love you guys. I'm sorry it's been so long between videos. I will definitely have more content coming up. I have a little knife here that's for my daughter's coach's friend that I'll probably show you guys. Matt did some work on it. I just want to show you some of the stuff that Matt and I have done on that. But other than that, guys, you guys take it easy. Stand by at 1 o'clock, like in an hour and a half. There'll be a premiere coming up. I will be in the live chat with you guys. You guys have a good day. And I'm gonna go I'm gonna go film the other video while I'm waiting. Later.